Hello, and welcome back to the Art Channel. I'm Mr. N, Mr. Nesfasil, art teacher for Hillsborough Virtual K through 12. Today we're going to be looking at landscape photography and what it's all about and how to get those great landscape photos. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Landscape photography shows spaces within the world, sometimes vast and unending, but other times very microscopic, right? All the way down to the tiniest little thing. Landscape photographs, typically capture the presence of nature but can also focus on man-made features or disturbances of landscapes. So man-made features as in architecture, buildings, cities, cityscapes, disturbances of landscapes as in artwork that has been put into the earth, earthworks, other disturbances of landscapes where volcanoes have erupted and disturbed the landscape, avalanches, things of that nature. Here are 12 tips to help capture great landscape photos. Location, location, location. It's always about location, right? Another big key is to be patient and don't be lazy, okay? Don't get out there and just start snapping photos and boom, I'm done. I got landscape photos and they're great. That doesn't happen. Use the best lighting. Bring a tripod if you have one. Maximize your depth of field if you're not doing macro photography. Think about your overall composition, right? The overall picture of your photo, right? The overall image, right? Everything included. Use the correct lens filters. For example, a polarizing lens cap if you have them. Use the histogram on your camera. If you have a DSLR camera or even a lot of point and shoot cameras, if you look on the back and look through the menu, it will show you the histogram. The histogram is that chart of colors, right? So the chart of colors that are coming through in each photograph. It'll look like a little bar chart. Never settle for a good photo, right? We always want great landscape photos. We always want great photos, period. So never settle for a good photo. Always shoot in a raw format if possible, if your camera allows it. This allows you to do the most editing of your photos after you've taken them, right? And of course, as always, experiment with your photo taking. I always encourage you to experiment with your photo taking. So here's what it begins with. Choosing what type of landscape you want to photograph. Not what landscape, right? I said what type of landscape. There are different landscapes, right, which we'll look at in a second, and there are different types of landscape, okay? First, we have a representational landscape photo, which is realistic photographs of landscapes as they appear in reality. Nothing funny about it. The photo we're looking at right here on the screen is a representational landscape photo. Impressionistic landscape photographs are those that create an impression of the scene instead of an exact representation. So if I were to just show you a small part of this desert that we're looking at in the image, that would be an impressionistic landscape photograph. Abstract landscape photographs are those that emphasize shape, form, contrast, or color in such a way that the landscape itself is not recognizable. So this means if I were to get really up in close to that tree that we see in this image and take just a macro photograph of the bark of that tree, that could turn into an abstract landscape photograph. And then we have cityscape photographs, which are the urban versions of a landscape. Then we have our different types of landscape, or different landscapes that we can photograph, right? I don't want to keep saying types because there's types of landscapes and then there's landscapes, right? So then we choose your landscape. After choosing the type of landscape photo you want to take, we then choose the landscape that we want to photograph. Whether that be a forest, a beach, a lake or a pond, a desert, a prairie, a plain, a mountain, a city, a suburb. Wow, there's so many different types of landscapes that you could photograph. It's insane. All right, so moving on. Let's look at some famous landscape photographers and their works. Probably one of the most famous landscape photographers of all time is Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams was alive from 1902 to 1984 and took I'd say probably almost all black and white photos. And probably mostly all of his black and white photos come from the Rocky Mountains out in the west side of the United States. This is where he lived. So this is where he also took a lot of photographs. So the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevadas, these are all places that Ansel Adams would frequent and photograph as well. Moving on, we have Colin Pryer, who is still alive. We can see that Colin takes all different types of landscape photographs as well. His are in color, however. We also have Michael Kenna, born in 1953 and still alive. Again, his images come to us in black and white. Different types of landscape images in black and white. But again, still putting his own spin on landscape photography. We can see in the picture on the right how he pushes the lights and the darks within the image after it's being taken. Takeshi Mizukoshi, born in 1938, Japanese landscape photographer, still alive. Again, all different types of landscapes. And even different parts of landscapes can turn into a photography career. So there are people that take photographs of only lightning, right? So you think of your lightning photographers. Those are also landscape photographers. They're taking disturbance of landscapes, portrait, right? So they would be photographing the disturbances of landscapes. People who take photographs of just clouds, right? Cloud formations, whether they be in the sunrise, the sunset, middle of the day, whatever. Those are also landscape photographers. So, I thank you for watching. Yet another one of our art channel videos, our photography art channel videos. Again, my name is Mr. J. Nesfasil. I'm the high school art teacher for Hillsborough Virtual K-12. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed just a little bit more about landscape photography. Thanks. Bye-bye.